and she had instantly received a miracle. And she deliberately left out the part of her ever visiting my mother late at night with a loaf of bread so that my mother could pray for her. As that woman gave out a false testimony in honor of the pastor, I looked at my mother, and when I looked at my mother, I saw that my mother, she was deeply hurt by that false testimony. I saw that my mom was so sad, and she kept on looking down throughout the testimony as that woman was busy telling her story. But she chose to remain quiet. From that day, I felt like going to another church because I saw how this church that we were attending was using my mother. For this church, my mother was only important for those kind of crusades that involved a lot of prophetic words and miracle healings. And after that, my mother was never given any recognition. Then one day they came this other man. So this man, he had been out of the country for many years. When he came back, he then came and he visited my mom. This man, growing up, we just called him our brother. So after high school, that was when he had traveled to this other Bible school. He had said that God had moved him. Then he went to that Bible school. He kept on saying that this man that he had met whilst he was in Bible school was like an angel of God. So he said that the angel of God had given him a large sum of money as a form of a donation. And when he had told us that this was like an angel of God, I kept on fantasizing about that man. But on the day that I met the man, my brother, I was shocked because this man, that so-called angel of God, who had donated a huge sum of money to that man whom we used to call our brother, the man was not even a Christian. This man's religion remained a mystery to me until the day that I finally decided to leave that pastor behind and this church behind. That man, the day that I met him, he seemed to be a man that didn't follow Islam. He said that he studied Islam and he didn't even read the Bible. He kept on saying that you must study the Bible, and whenever you would say it, it sounded as if all of these religions that he was studying have a secret code which was written in them, and he was on a quest trying to find that secret that was hidden in all of these world religions. So that was the man who had sponsored that other man whom we had grown up calling our brother. And that was how he had managed to go overseas so as to attend that Bible school. And when he came back, he was full of fire. When he came back, he started preaching. Mostly whenever that pastor was never around, he was the one who would be preaching. And within a short period of time, there was some kind of bad energy that was happening between him and our pastor. When this thing happened, that man then approached my mother with all of his grievances. When he came, he told my mom that he had thought of another plan. He said that God was the one who had showed him this plan. He said to my mom, "Mama, I want to start a new church just as the Lord has instructed me. Mama, can you please help me to start up this church? Can you be part of this new church that the Lord has instructed me to start?" When our so-called brother asked my mother to depart from the church that had given her this great miracle, it really troubled my mother. But I think that the situation that was happening at the church forced our mother to get out of the church, and we then believed in the dream that had been sold to us by our so-called brother, who had now become a very powerful pastor. When this thing started, this man was like a righteous man of God. Every time that he would be speaking with you, you would feel the power moving through him. It seemed as if even sin could not even touch him. He was so holy that I even believed that he was more holier than the Son of God himself. Yes, my brother, he never said it. He never said that he was much holier than the Son of God, but from the way that he spoke whilst he was preaching, preaching, he gave out that vibe that he was much more holier than his own creator. This man, he always had money, a lot of money on him. When his church started, my brother, there were men that used to travel with him. These men that used to travel with him, they always had traveling bags that were full of money, and whenever he will be going around, he will be giving people money. So we do not even know where most of the money was coming from, but from what he said in some of his sermons, he kept on saying that the majority of the money that he was getting, it was from his donor. He kept on saying that even if you do not give me your tithes, even if you do not give me your free will offering, God is going to give me money through the donor that he sent to me. And at that time, he had been building this huge church, and he kept on saying that he was building that church from the money that he was getting. And the money that he was getting, it was from that same man whom he claimed to be an angel of God. And that so-called angel of God neither followed Islam or Christianity, but that man studied the Quran and the Bible as if he was searching for a hidden secret that he believed to be buried inside those books, as he called them. Whenever he would mention the Bible, he would just say that book. Or if he wanted to mention the Quran, he would just say that book. That man, who was the pastor whom we were following now, then moved us out of the high density area because we were staying there. And then the man gifted my mother with a fully built house, and it even had most of the furniture that could be found inside. But soon after the death of my mother, we were kicked out of that house, and when we tried going to court, we found out that the title deeds that my mother had been given, they were all fake. No change of ownership had ever happened. And it truly saddens me to think that my mother, when she passed away, she died thinking that she had left a home behind for her children, but this was not so. All of the title deeds that she had been made to sign, all of them, my brother, they were just fake. This really hurts me. Before my mother passed away, she kept on saying that she kept having a troublesome dream. This was just after the big church that the pastor that we were now following was building. The building had been completed. So my mother kept on saying that she kept on having this strange dream, and whenever she saw herself in that dream, she said that, "My son, I saw myself last night driving a car in my dreams, and this car that I was driving, at the back of that car, it was as if I was carrying a glass coffin, and as I was driving that car that had a coffin at the back, I then saw that there was a roadblock in front of me,